What if the reason you feel exhausted every morning has nothing to do with how much sleep you got and everything to do with how you wake up? Researchers who spent over 20 years studying centenarians in 5 regions around the world discovered something remarkable. Every single one of these long-lived individuals shares a simple morning ritual that takes less than 10 minutes. And here is the surprising part. This habit has nothing to do with intense exercise, expensive supplements, or restrictive diets. In fact, most Americans do the exact opposite every single morning without realizing the damage that accumulates over decades. Today, I am going to show you exactly what these centenarians do differently and how you can start tomorrow morning. Glenn from Phoenix is 71 years old. He used to wake up every day with body aches, zero energy, and his mind already racing through the tasks he needed to complete. After watching a documentary about Okinawa, he changed just one thing about his morning routine. 6 months later, his energy levels and overall disposition were completely transformed without adding any strenuous exercise to his day. Number 1. Wake up with a clear reason. The centenarians of Okinawa do not wake up thinking about obligations or dreading the day ahead. They wake up knowing exactly why they want to get out of bed. This concept is called Ikigai, a Japanese word that literally translates to reason for living. Researchers from the University of Tokyo and the Okinawa Research Center for Longevity Science have documented that people with a strong sense of Ikigai have significantly higher levels of DHEA, a hormone directly linked to longevity and vitality. A study published in the Journal of Psychosomatic Research found that individuals with a clear sense of purpose have 15% lower risk of death from all causes compared to those who feel directionless. Now, you might be thinking that having a life purpose sounds like something grand and complicated, but the centenarians in these blue zone regions prove otherwise. A 104-year-old fisherman interviewed in Ogimi, Okinawa, told researchers his reason for waking up was simple. He said, "I wake up because I still have things to do." His purpose was not saving the world or achieving fame. It was tending to his fishing nets and having tea with a neighbor. A woman in her late 90s described her ikigai as making breakfast for her family and watering her garden. These are small, everyday activities that give life meaning and create anticipation for each new day. When you wake up without a defined purpose, something harmful happens inside your body before you even leave the bed. Your stress response activates immediately. Cortisol floods your system and chronic inflammation begins building up. Over years and decades, this morning's stress response contributes to heart disease, cognitive decline, and accelerated aging. The centenarians avoid this entirely by having something specific they look forward to each morning. Their brains are wired for anticipation rather than dread, and this single difference changes their entire hormonal profile from the moment they open their eyes. Here is what you can do starting tonight. Before you go to sleep, write down one single sentence about something you want to do tomorrow. Not something you have to do, but something that gives you satisfaction. It could be watering a plant, calling a grandchild, preparing a special breakfast, or taking a short walk to see the sunrise. This simple act takes less than 30 seconds but completely changes how your brain processes waking up. Your mind will have something positive to anticipate instead of defaulting to worry and obligation. Start tonight and notice how different tomorrow morning feels. Number 2. Gentle movement in the first 10 minutes. Why do Japanese centenarians do light exercises immediately after waking up, while most Americans reach straight for their phones? Since 1928, millions of Japanese people have practiced something called radio taiso, a series of gentle movements originally broadcast over the radio that takes between 5 and 10 minutes to complete. Researchers Hector Garcia and Francesc Miralles, authors of the best-selling book Ikigai, the Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life, interviewed centenarians across Okinawa and discovered that nearly all of them practiced this routine daily. Some even did the exercises from their wheelchairs in nursing homes. A study published in BMJ Open 2022 confirmed that this practice improves flexibility, balance, and significantly reduces fall risk in older adults. The movements themselves are remarkably simple. Arm circles, hip rotations, gentle stretches, and light squats, nothing that requires special equipment or athletic ability. One remarkable woman, 104 years old in Ogimi village, gets up and down from the floor approximately 30 times throughout her day while doing normal household activities. That equals 30 squats without ever setting foot in a gym. Her legs remain strong, her balance stays sharp, and her independence continues well past the age when most people become dependent on others for basic mobility. This natural movement integrated into daily life is fundamentally different from the Western approach of sitting all day and then trying to compensate with an hour at the gym. Skipping morning movement keeps your body stiff and accelerates muscle loss in ways that compound over time. Falls are the leading cause of injury death in Americans over 65, and morning stiffness dramatically increases this risk. When you go directly from lying down to sitting at a desk or standing at a counter without any transitional movement, your joints remain compressed, your circulation stays sluggish, and your muscles never fully activate for the day ahead. The centenarians understand intuitively what research now confirms. Your body needs movement in the first minutes of the day to function optimally for the hours that follow. Tomorrow morning, before you reach for your phone or start making coffee, stand up and do 5 arm circles in each direction. Then do 5 gentle hip rotations and 5 slow knee bends. The entire sequence takes less than 2 minutes. You do not need special clothes or a yoga mat. You do not need to break a sweat or feel exhausted. You simply need to wake up your joints and muscles before demanding anything else from your body. Your balance and energy will thank you within weeks, and your long-term mobility will benefit for decades. Do not wait until you feel stiff or have already fallen. Start this simple practice tomorrow. Number 3, the morning drink they never skip and how most people drink it wrong. Centenarians in 3 different blue zones start their day with the same beverage, but the way they drink it is completely different from how most Americans approach their morning routine. Dan Buettner, the National Geographic researcher and founder of the Blue Zones Project, documented that Sardinians, Ikarians, and Nicoyans all begin their day with black coffee, lightly sweetened without cream. Okinawans prefer jasmine tea. The Harvard Th. Chan School of Public Health has published extensive research showing that moderate coffee consumption of 1 to 3 cups daily is associated with lower risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and overall mortality. But here is the crucial difference. These centenarians drink slowly, seated, and often with other people. In Ikaria, Greece, neighbors gather every morning to drink coffee together. Not in 5 rushed minutes while running out the door, but in conversations that can last an hour or more. The coffee itself provides antioxidants and mild stimulation, but the ritual surrounding it provides something equally important. It creates a buffer between sleep and the demands of the day. It establishes a moment of calm before activity begins. It often involves social connection, which we now know is as important for longevity as not smoking. The Sardinians have their espresso sipped slowly at small village cafes. The Nicoyans prepare their coffee as a morning gathering ritual for the household. When you drink coffee while standing, rushing, and checking emails simultaneously, you keep your body in stress mode from the very first minute of the day. Cortisol, which should naturally decrease after waking, stays elevated because your nervous system interprets the rushing and screen stimulation as threats requiring alert response. Over time, this pattern of stressed morning drinking contributes to anxiety, digestive problems, and the chronic inflammation that underlies most age-related diseases. The centenarians reverse this pattern entirely by making their morning beverage a moment of intentional pause rather than another task to complete quickly. Tomorrow morning, sit down to drink your coffee or tea. No phone in your hand, no standing at the counter while doing 3 other things. Just 10 minutes of conscious pause before you begin your tasks for the day. If you live with someone, invite them to join you. If you live alone, use the time to look out the window or simply sit with your thoughts. This single change can reduce your morning stress levels within days. Try it for 1 week and observe the difference in how you feel by mid-morning. The research supports it, and the centenarians prove it works across cultures and decades. Number 4. Human contact before tasks. When was the last time you spoke to another person? Not through text, but actually spoke in the first 30 minutes of your day. The Framingham Heart Study, one of the longest-running medical studies in history, demonstrated that social connections are as important for longevity as not smoking. In Okinawa, the system of moai, groups of 5 friends who commit to each other for life, ensures daily social contact from childhood through old age. When researchers asked a centenarian woman in Ikaria if she ever felt lonely, she laughed and said, "How can I feel lonely when someone is always walking through my door?" One centenarian from Ogimi village described his morning routine in a way that surprised the researchers. He said, "I wake up at 5 every morning, walk to the sea, then go to a friend's house where we have tea together. That is the secret to a long life, getting together with people and going from place to place." Notice that his first activities after waking involved movement, nature, and human connection before any work or obligations. This pattern repeated across every Blue Zone region. The centenarians prioritize relationship before productivity. They see other humans before they see task lists. They speak before they type. Chronic social isolation increases dementia risk by 50%, according to researchers at Harvard. The health impact of loneliness is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes per day in terms of inflammation and mortality risk. When you spend your first waking hour alone with screens, absorbing news and emails and social media without any genuine human interaction, you deprive your brain of the connection it evolved to need. The centenarians never make this mistake. Their mornings are structured around people, not devices. Their first words of the day are spoken to someone who matters to them, not typed into a machine. Tomorrow morning, before you open your email or check the news, send a voice message to someone you care about. Better yet, make a quick phone call. It does not need to be long. 30 seconds of genuine human voice changes your brain chemistry in ways that text cannot replicate. If you live with family, make breakfast together and talk about something other than schedules and tasks. If you live alone, call a friend, a sibling, or a neighbor. Human connection in the early morning changes the trajectory of your entire day. Do not postpone it until you have finished your work. Put it first. Number 5, 10 minutes of nature or garden time. Almost every centenarian in the Blue Zones has a garden, and they spend time in it every morning, regardless of how small it might be. Researchers have discovered that exposure to natural light within the first 30 minutes of waking regulates your circadian rhythm and improves sleep quality at night. A study published in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health found that regular gardening is associated with lower dementia risk and better cardiovascular health. Additionally, contact with soil bacteria called Mycobacterium vaccae has demonstrated positive effects on mood and immune function in multiple studies. In Sardinia, one remarkable family had 9 siblings whose combined age was 860 years, averaging 95 years each. Their daily habit was tending the family vegetable garden together every morning, harvesting ingredients for that day's soup. In Okinawa, even the smallest homes have patches of greenery that residents care for daily. The gardening provides gentle physical activity, exposure to sunlight, contact with living things, and often a sense of purpose and accomplishment before the day's other activities begin. These benefits compound over decades into measurably longer and healthier lives. Spending your mornings entirely indoors under artificial light disrupts your hormones in ways that affect everything from mood to metabolism. Your body evolved to receive natural light signals that regulate dozens of biological processes. When you deprive yourself of morning sunlight and natural environments, you interfere with melatonin production, cortisol rhythms, and vitamin D synthesis. Over years, this contributes to sleep disorders, depression, weakened immunity, and accelerated cognitive decline. The centenarians avoid these problems simply by stepping outside and interacting with plants and sunlight as part of their normal morning routine. You do not need a large garden to receive these benefits. Place a small plant on your kitchen windowsill and water it every morning while your coffee brews. Step outside for 5 minutes and feel the sun on your face before starting indoor activities. If you have any outdoor space at all, spend a few minutes there each morning, noticing the plants, the sky, the air. Natural morning light is free and immediately available to almost everyone. Use it tomorrow morning. Your sleep tonight will improve, and your mood throughout the day will shift in ways you will notice within the first week. Number 6. The breakfast they eat and the 80% rule. Did you know that Okinawa Centenarians stop eating before they feel completely full, and that this single habit might be the difference between aging well and aging poorly? The mantra Hara Hachi Bu, based on Confucian teachings from 2,500 years ago, reminds Okinawans to stop eating when they are 80% satisfied. Researchers from the National Institute on Aging have documented that this practice of moderate caloric restriction is associated with lower inflammation, better insulin sensitivity, and increased longevity. Dan Buettner observed that centenarians across the blue zones eat their largest meal in the morning or at midday and keep dinner light. The breakfast itself matters as much as when you stop eating. Buettner's favorite blue zone breakfast, inspired by Sardinian traditions, is a minestrone soup made with vegetables and beans, prepared on weekends and eaten throughout the week. In Okinawa, breakfast includes vegetables, tofu, and small portions of fish. In Nicoya, the traditional breakfast features black beans, rice, and eggs. Notice what is absent from these meals. There are no sugary cereals, no pastries, no processed foods designed to spike blood sugar and leave you hungry 2 hours later. The centenarians eat real food in the morning and feel satisfied until their next meal. Skipping breakfast or eating ultra-processed foods in the morning disrupts blood sugar regulation in ways that affect your entire day. When blood sugar spikes and crashes, hunger intensifies, cravings increase, and the body stores more fat. Chronic blood sugar dysregulation leads to insulin resistance, weight gain, and eventually type 2 diabetes. The morning meal sets the metabolic tone for everything that follows. When centenarians start with vegetables, beans, eggs, and whole foods, their blood sugar remains stable, their energy stays consistent, and their appetite stays under control naturally without requiring willpower. Tomorrow morning, include at least one vegetable or legume in your breakfast. Eggs with spinach, toast with avocado, or leftover beans from last night's dinner all qualify. And practice stopping before you feel completely stuffed. Leave the table when you could eat a little more, but do not actually need to. This 80% approach prevents the sluggishness that comes from overeating and trains your body to recognize true satisfaction rather than uncomfortable fullness. How you start your eating day determines your energy and hunger patterns until bedtime. Begin well tomorrow. The centenarians of the blue zones do not live longer because they have special genetics or access to advanced medical treatments. They live longer because they have built morning routines that nourish their bodies, their minds, and their connections to others. 10 minutes of gentle movement, a beverage enjoyed slowly and consciously, a clear purpose for the day ahead, contact with nature and with people who matter, a nourishing breakfast eaten mindfully. These are not radical changes requiring enormous discipline. They are small adjustments that compound over decades into dramatically different outcomes. The research confirms what these centenarians demonstrate through their lives. How you spend your first hour shapes how you spend your years. If you already practice one of these morning habits, tell me in the comments which one makes the biggest difference for you. If you know someone who needs to hear this message, a friend, a sibling, a neighbor, share this video with them right now. And if you want more content about living better after 60, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. I will see you in the next one.